As we enter another tax season, one very common question we receive is whether taxpayers who are considered U.S. citizens or residents of the United States but living overseas have to file U.S. taxes. Typically, the answer is going to be yes. There are some circumstances that they don't have to, but the majority of the time they do. Let's talk through it. So, the United States is different than most other countries because they tax individuals, and we're just talking about individuals right now, not entities or trusts or for individuals, the US taxes individuals on their worldwide income based on their US person status, not just their residence. In some countries, they only tax you, in most countries actually, they only tax you on your worldwide income if you are living in that country for more than 6 months out of the year. That's not the way the US works, unfortunately. The way they do it here in the US is that if you are a US person for tax purposes, then you're taxed on your worldwide income. That includes US citizens, born or naturalized, lawful permanent residents, foreign nationals who meet the substantial presence test, like you're on an H-1B, L-1, EB-5, um, B-1, B-2, O-1. So if you fall into these categories, then the default position is you're a US person for tax purposes and you have to file a tax return. Now, there are some exceptions, exclusions, and limitations, and two of the main ones are the following. If you are a US person because you're a permanent resident and you're in a treaty country, then you may qualify under the treaty to be treated as a non resident alien for US tax purposes, and then you only have to file the Form 1040-NR, non resident, to report your US sourced income, but not the Form 1040 to report your worldwide income. Now, making this more complicated is that you're still required to file certain international information reporting forms, at least according to the IRS, Form 5471, 3520. Although there was a recent case, ROS Day, in which the court had said for a taxpayer who was in Mexico and qualified for the treaty election, they should not be subject to non willful penalties for not filing because they shouldn't have had to file in the first place. Now, a second common exception is if you met the substantial presence test, but you can show a closer connection. So the substantial presence test is essentially a counting days test, and depending on how many days you're in the U.S. in the year and the two prior years, using a 1-to-1, 3-to-1, and 6-to-1 ratio calculation, will determine if you are in the catch-all category of individuals who have to pay U.S. tax on their worldwide income. Even if you meet the substantial presence test, you may qualify for the closer connection exception. So you too only have to file the Form 1040-NR to report your U.S. sourced income. There's other exceptions as well, but those are two of the main exceptions. It's important to note that when you're filing taxes as well, especially for taxpayers who are living overseas and their income is sourced overseas, all types of income is reportable unless there is an exception or an exclusion. So, earned income is going to be reported on your U.S. return. If you've got passive income like dividends, capital gains, that's reportable as well. Interest income, even if it's tax exempt or just isn't taxable in the foreign countries. In some countries, passive income isn't taxed. A lot of Asian countries, you can get by without having to pay taxes on passive income like dividends and capital gains. Unfortunately, it's still going to be taxable in the U.S. Now, you may qualify for things such as the foreign earned income exclusion and housing exclusion, which lets you exclude a certain portion of your income. You may qualify for foreign tax credits as well. But at the end of the day, you're still taxed on your worldwide income and you're still required to file a tax return. If you're out of compliance, it can seem overwhelming, it can seem scary, but there's various programs you can use to get into compliance. There's the voluntary disclosure program if you're willful. There's the streamlined procedures, delinquency procedures, and reasonable cause if you're not willful. We've got a ton of free information available on our main website and our sub websites. You can always reach out and schedule a reduced fee initial consultation if it's appropriate to your matter, and it's something that we handle here. Again, my name is Sean Golding with Golding and Golding. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.